The legal entanglements surrounding former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro and his inner circle continue to dominate headlines and shape the political landscape well into 2025. Two recent developments widely reported across major Brazilian news outlets, such as Folha de São Paulo, O Globo, and Estadão, have underscored the persistent legal scrutiny he faces and sparked renewed controversy regarding attempts to secure political protection. These events, an official legal notice served during a hospital stay, and Bolsonaro's reported endorsement of an amnesty project seen as self-benefiting, highlight the ongoing tension between judicial processes and political maneuvering in Brazil as of April 22, 2025. According to widespread media reports citing judicial and police sources, Mr. Bolsonaro was recently served with an official summons, intimação, while admitted to a hospital for health reasons. While details vary slightly across reports, the notice is understood to be linked to the high-profile investigation into the alleged misappropriation and illicit sale of valuable state gifts, particularly jewellery sets received from Gulf nations during his presidency. This investigation, spearheaded by the Federal Police, PF, under the supervision of the Supreme Federal Court, STF, probes potential crimes including embezzlement, peculato, and administrative impropriety. The specific summons might relate to requests for further testimony, clarification of previous statements, or procedural steps concerning assets potentially linked to the case. Legally, serving notice to an individual undergoing hospital treatment is permissible under Brazilian law, provided their health condition allows them to understand and respond appropriately. However, the event inevitably generated significant political reaction. Bolsonaro's allies and supporters, as reported in the press, swiftly condemned the timing and location, portraying it as further evidence of politically motivated persecution and harassment orchestrated by opponents and parts of the judiciary. They often frame such actions as disrespectful and lacking sensitivity, designed to humiliate the former president. Conversely, critics and legal commentators cited in news analyses emphasized that legal processes must apply equally to all citizens, regardless of status or health circumstances, provided medical clearance is given. They stressed the seriousness of the underlying allegations, the potential diversion of public assets for private gain, arguing that the investigation must proceed unhindered. From this perspective, the hospital summons, while perhaps attracting more media attention due to the setting, represents a standard procedural step in a complex and significant investigation into potential corruption and abuse of power during his time in office. The incident served as a stark reminder of the multiple serious legal fronts Mr. Bolsonaro continues to face, compounding the legal pressure. Separate reports across Brazilian media detailed controversial remarks attributed to Jair Bolsonaro regarding a proposed amnesty law being debated or formulated by his allies in Congress. While various amnesty proposals have surfaced since the end of his term, recent attention focused on drafts potentially covering actions related to the January 8, 2023 riots or alleged anti-democratic acts, precisely areas where Bolsonaro and close allies face investigation.
Alexandre Moraes classificou como confidencial, como secreto. Porque a minha acusação é que eu comecei a dar golpe dia 29 de julho de 21.
According to these press reports, Bolsonaro, possibly speaking at a political event or in an online broadcast, strongly endorsed such an amnesty project. His justification, as reported, likely centered on arguments for national pacification, turning the page, or ending what he terms political persecution by the judiciary. However, the critical element highlighted by numerous outlets was his reported acknowledgement, whether explicit or clearly implied, that such an amnesty would directly benefit himself and others under investigation for related events.
Diz que o voto impresso é inconstitucional. Eu quero o sistema eleitoral para o meu país igualzinho da Venezuela. Igualzinho do Paraguai. E não esse sistema que está. Isso é crime. Criticar o sistema eleitoral passou a ser crime agora. E tudo começou no telefone do Cid, onde foram buscar um cartão de vacina com ele, pegaram o telefone. Eu peço por favor. Eu peço por favor. Eu peço por favor. Eu peço por favor.
This perceived admission immediately ignited fierce criticism. Opposition leaders, legal experts, and civil society groups, quoted extensively in the press, condemned the move as a blatant attempt to secure impunity for potentially serious crimes, including actions seen as undermining democratic institutions. Critics argued that supporting an amnesty designed to shield oneself from accountability fundamentally violates the principle of equality before the law and represents a profound ethical breach. The discourse emphasized that true national reconciliation cannot be built upon impunity for attacks on democracy or alleged corruption. Legal analysts cited in reports also raised potential constitutional challenges to broadly framed amnesties for such offenses. Supporters of the amnesty proposal, however, likely defended it in the media as a necessary political measure to heal national divisions and prevent the judiciary from overstepping its bounds or engaging in lawfare. They might argue that the investigations themselves are politically biased and that an amnesty is required to restore normalcy. The confluence of these two events, the tangible legal pressure represented by the hospital summons related to the gifts probe and the political maneuver of endorsing a self-benefiting amnesty, paints a clear picture of the dynamics at play. Facing multiple complex investigations with potentially severe consequences, the former president and his allies appear to be pursuing parallel strategies, legally challenging the probes while simultaneously seeking a political escape route via legislative action. These developments underscore the enduring legacy of Bolsonaro's presidency and the deep political polarization that continues to define Brazil. The ongoing investigations test the resilience and impartiality of the country's legal and judicial institutions, while the debate over amnesty touches upon fundamental questions of accountability, justice, and the very meaning of democratic rule of law. The outcomes of these legal battles and political negotiations will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications for Brazil's political future and the perceived integrity of its institutions. As Brazil continues to grapple with these issues, the conduct of its legal system and the political responses remain under intense domestic and international scrutiny.
As pessoas estão sendo presas de baseada por aí, de montão por aí. Essa não tem culpa de nada, me desculpa, senhora, ok? Mas é algo pessoal. Estou terminando aqui. Porque, até eu queria que Sua Excelência, ministro Jair Moraes, eu sei que não faz parte do rito. Por que, Vossa Excelência, já que tem tanta certeza que eu sou um golpista, né? Aqui, apesar de não ter estado aqui de Rio de Janeiro, mas ter patrocinado do quebra-quebra em Brasília, que tal nós dois ao público, com toda a TV aberta, discutir esse processo todo, senhor Alexandre Moraes? Todo esse processo, discutir, nós dois, aberto, não é igual a delação do Cid, aquelas secretas, que vai mudando a cada novo depoimento, vai mudando tudo. Nós dois já tem tanta certeza assim que eu sou um criminoso. Vamos lá, TV Globo, a mesma coisa. 2, 3 horas ao vivo, para me acusar de tudo, de joia, de vacina, de baleia, tudo. Eu só quero meia hora, lógico que vão me defender, mas eu quero meia hora para falar do meu Brasil. Eu tenho uma proposta para o Brasil, para deixar esse povo parar de sofrer, que está aí, não pode comer nem ovo mais com esse governo. Olha só, imagine se eu tivesse o poder do Alexandre Moraes. Eu ia quebrar o sigilo do ministro Benedito e perguntar para ele, o que é a missão dada e a missão cumprida? Eu buscar trazer o Alexandre de Moraes para depor também. O que é isso aqui, Alexandre de Moraes? O que é isso aqui? Ou assim como outras autoridades do Supremo, perguntar o seguinte: interferimos sim, mas foi para o bem do Brasil? Ou seja, me tirar da presidência para botar esse cara que está aí, que está afundando o Brasil? Desculpa que já está machucando aqui, desculpa aí. Então, peço desculpa, senhora, mais uma vez. Eu vou assinar, ok? Mas uma medida de força. Podia esperar mais algumas horas, mas assina, por favor.
Pode colocar aqui.
Qual hora, por
Hoje é
favor?
dia 23 de abril.
12h47.
Abril de 25. Que horas?
12h47.
O nome da senhora, por favor?
Cristiane.
Eu queria desculpar mais uma vez, tá, Luciano?
The Channel of Brazil, your window onto the Brazilian socio-political landscape.
Pega para mim aqui.